that it was rejected almost everywhere. Today, however, that very same waste is being actively sought after by engineers and treated as the black gold of modern road construction. In this video, we follow the complete and remarkable rebirth of a single tire. From the moment it is discarded, through crushing and precision screening processes that turn it into ultrafine rubber granules, and finally to its fusion with hot bitumen to create a road surface with exceptional durability, unlocking an entirely new life cycle for a material once considered useless. If you want to discover the full journey behind the transformation of old tires, stay with the Factorin, because this story will change the way you see them forever. Here, the world discards more than 1.5 billion tires, a figure so vast that, when seen from above, many storage sites resemble dark oceans stretching all the way to the horizon. Left in the environment, tires barely break down and continuously release harmful chemicals, turning parts of the United States, Europe, and the Middle East into some of the most severe pollution hotspots on the planet. Yet this massive volume of waste has triggered an unexpected turning point. Rubberized asphalt, a multi-billion-dollar industry. Just 1 kilometer of road can reuse up to 10,000 tires, while also making the surface more durable, more resistant to cracking, and reducing traffic noise by around 6 decibels. From a symbol of pollution, tires are now emerging as one of the most promising, sustainable construction materials of the 21st century. Each day, within the quiet, steady rhythm of modern cities, thousands of vehicle tires reach the end of their service life at roadside garages, maintenance stations, scrap collection yards, and large-scale tire replacement centers. Most of them have already exceeded safe limits for tread wear, elasticity, and load-bearing capacity. When left in the natural environment, a single tire can persist for decades with little to no decomposition, while slowly leaching organic compounds and heavy metals, becoming a long-term source of contamination for soil and groundwater. In many countries, a worn-out tire is worth only a few cents when sold as scrap. Yet from the perspective of the recycling industry, it represents a true form of urban ore. Inside every tire lies a complex blend of natural rubber, synthetic rubber, reinforcing steel, textile fibers, and chemical additives, materials that can be recovered and reused with significant economic value when processed correctly. The collection process is typically organized along fixed routes. Specialized trucks, equipped with high-load platforms and secure fastening systems, gather tires from multiple locations to reach optimal transport volumes. This approach not only reduces logistical costs, but also prevents tires from being stored outdoors, where they can trap rainwater and become breeding grounds for disease-carrying insects. The recycling process begins with handling the steel reinforcement embedded inside the tire. This component is what allows the tire to lock firmly onto the wheel rim when traveling at high speeds. But in a recycling line, that same steel ring becomes the biggest obstacle. If it is not removed first, it can chip cutting blades, snap drive shafts, and bring the entire shredding system to a halt. At the first stage, workers feed the tire into a specialized bead removal machine. Inside, a hydraulic hook system capable of generating enormous pulling force digs deep into the tire bead and uses brute mechanical strength to extract the entire steel core in just a few dozen seconds. As you can see, the force is so intense that even the thick rubber body of the tire is violently twisted and deformed during the process. On average, each heavy-duty truck tire like this yields around 2 kilograms of high-quality carbon steel. Once separated, the steel wires are collected manually by workers, compressed into compact bundles, and then transported directly to metallurgical plants, where they begin a completely new life cycle. Meanwhile, the remaining tire carcass is now far more flexible and ready to enter the next stage of coarse shredding. Before mechanical processing begins, the tires pass through a high-pressure washing system that removes mud, oil residue, and embedded gravel from the surface, protecting cutting blades and crushing shafts from premature wear. This may seem like a minor step, but it plays a decisive role in maintaining the stability and service life of the entire downstream production line. In the primary shredding stage, whole tires are fed into high-torque cutting machines, where slowly rotating alloy steel blades slice them into coarse fragments measuring several inches across. This low-speed cutting method minimizes heat generation, preventing the rubber from softening or sticking to the blades, while shaping the material into a form suitable for further processing. The shredded pieces then move into secondary grinding, where their size is reduced even further, and the internal steel reinforcement is mechanically fractured and gradually separated from the rubber. High-strength magnetic systems recover the steel directly from the material flow, turning this reinforcement into a valuable stream of recyclable metal. The final output is crumb rubber with tightly controlled particle size, stable enough to move on to classification or reuse. At this stage, the tire has completely lost its original form and becomes a raw material ready for new applications in construction, transportation, and industrial manufacturing. At the end of the production line, all material passes through a classification screening system. Particles that meet the required size move forward, while larger pieces are routed back to the grinder for further processing. Among these outputs, the fraction ranging from 0.5 to 2 millimeters is especially critical. This is the exact rubber size used to produce rubberized asphalt, which we will explore next. After crushing and screening, crumb rubber from waste tires still retains residual moisture, fine dust, and traces of impurities embedded within its structure. These factors interfere with how rubber interacts with hot bitumen, preventing the mixture from achieving the bonding, strength, and stability required for high-performance pavement. For this reason, before it can be blended into asphalt, crumb rubber must undergo a dedicated drying and heating stage to reach the ideal condition for mixing. Inside the plant, the rubber granules are fed into a rotating drying drum, a large steel cylinder set at a slight incline and kept in constant rotation. Hot air, typically generated by burners fueled with natural gas or fuel oil, is introduced into the drum at temperatures ranging from 200 to 260 degrees Fahrenheit. As the material tumbles inside, moisture is gradually driven off, while the surface of each rubber particle becomes dry and more chemically active, ready to interact with hot bitumen in the next stage. In modern production lines, this process is tightly controlled using temperature sensors and airflow regulation systems to prevent scorching or loss of elasticity in the rubber. Many facilities also rely on indirect heating methods, keeping the rubber isolated from direct flame to preserve the internal polymer structure of each particle. As a result, when the rubber enters the asphalt blending phase, it can swell and absorb bitumen more effectively, forming rubberized asphalt that is more durable, more elastic, and far more resistant to cracking over time. Immediately after drying and preheating, the crumb rubber enters the bitumen blending stage, where the true value of recycling is created. Bitumen is heated separately in storage tanks until it reaches a stable liquid state, typically between 320 and 375 degrees Fahrenheit, ensuring proper flow without degrading its chemical structure. The crumb rubber is then fed into the mixing chamber in carefully controlled doses, with common ratios ranging from 10 to 20% of the total binder mass, depending on the technical requirements of each rubberized asphalt formulation. Inside the mixing unit, heat-resistant paddles generate a continuous vortex, forcing the rubber and bitumen into intense contact for a sustained period of 30 to 60 minutes. During this time, the rubber particles do more than simply disperse. They swell as they absorb lighter oils from the bitumen, a process that increases the viscosity of the mixture while significantly improving elasticity and crack resistance. These properties are especially critical for road surfaces exposed to heavy traffic loads and constant temperature fluctuations. In modern asphalt plants, the entire process is closely monitored using viscosity sensors, temperature controls, and residence time management to ensure uniform rubber distribution and prevent clumping. Some systems also introduce stabilizing additives to reduce phase separation during storage or transport. By the end of this stage, the rubberized asphalt reaches a homogeneous and stable state, ready to be used in asphalt concrete production, where discarded tires officially become part of a new generation of resilient road infrastructure. Immediately after the recycled tire-based asphalt mixture is fully blended, it is discharged into specialized dump trucks whose beds have been preheated to prevent sticking or premature cooling. At the time of loading, the temperature is typically maintained between 270 and 300 degrees Fahrenheit, allowing the mixture to retain its workability and self-leveling properties during paving. Each truck leaves the plant along a carefully planned route, heading toward a job site where the construction crew has already prepared the base layer. Upon arrival, the driver raises the truck bed and releases the hot mixture into the hopper of the asphalt paver. This machine uses internal augers to distribute the material evenly across the full width of the lane, while the screed plate at the rear lays down the asphalt at a precisely controlled thickness, most commonly between 1.5 and 3 inches, depending on the road design. Immediately after placement, steel vibratory rollers and pneumatic tire rollers begin compacting the asphalt while it is still hot. The rolling sequence is carefully calculated. Steel rollers provide initial compaction and a smooth surface finish, while pneumatic rollers seal internal air voids and enhance bonding within the layer. The entire compaction process must be completed before the mixture cools below 180 degrees Fahrenheit, as the bitumen then loses its optimal bonding capability. Within just a few hours, the recycled tire asphalt hardens and is ready to reopen to traffic. Roads once considered to have reached the end of their service life are given a new beginning, saving thousands of tons of raw materials and significantly reducing carbon emissions. A clear demonstration of the power of recycling in modern infrastructure. Over time, under the constant stress of traffic loads and environmental exposure, even rubberized asphalt gradually deteriorates, with cracks and surface rutting beginning to appear. What is remarkable is that asphalt can be recycled repeatedly, almost without limit, while still retaining its technical value. Even when originally produced from recycled tires, this material continues to circulate within the infrastructure system, turning aging roads into raw material for the next generation of pavement. Once the asphalt slabs have been separated, wheel loaders or mini excavators move in to begin the removal and collection phase. Operators carefully lower the bucket to the edge of each cracked slab, then lift gently to pry the entire section up without damaging the base layer underneath. Smaller pieces are gathered into clusters before being loaded onto trucks, while larger slabs are broken apart using the bucket or steel bars for easier handling. When the asphalt remains tightly bonded, workers assist with shovels and pry bars to loosen the edges, allowing the machinery to work faster and more efficiently. Each bucket can hold between 200 and 400 pounds of asphalt, and within just a few hours, dozens of tons of material are cleared from the road surface. Trucks are weighed, assigned batch numbers, and logged with their excavation zone before leaving the site, ensuring full traceability of the RAP, reclaimed asphalt pavement, for future quality control. Once the surface has been completely stripped, the crew performs mechanical sweeping and base leveling to prepare for fine milling in the next stages of recycling. Though it may seem like a straightforward task, this phase determines the precision and efficiency of the entire recycling process, where every slab of asphalt is separated, collected, and made ready for its journey of rebirth. After the old pavement is removed and transported from the site, all the material, known as RAP, reclaimed asphalt pavement, is sent to a recycling plant. Here, every ton of used asphalt begins a process of separation, cleaning, and size standardization, preparing it for the next stage of mixing. The first step is impurity removal. Trucks unload the RAP into a feed hopper, where the material moves along a vibrating feeder that separates debris, soil, scrap metal, and concrete fragments collected during milling. Large metal pieces are extracted by an electromagnet, while the remaining material enters the impact crusher, the core of the entire processing line. Inside the crushing chamber, high-speed hammers, rotating at 1,800 RPM, continuously strike the asphalt against fixed impact bars, breaking the chunks apart and separating the aged bitumen from the stone aggregates. Adjustable impact wings allow operators to fine-tune the gap between the rotor and the bars, controlling the output size, typically ranging from 0.5 to 2 inches, depending on regional or manufacturer mix specifications. After crushing, the material passes through a multi-deck vibrating screen for classification. Oversized particles are recirculated back to the crusher, while properly sized aggregates are divided into groups: coarse RAP, fine RAP, and mineral dust fines. Some plants also include an air separator to remove light dust, ensuring cleaner aggregates and improving binder adhesion during remixing. In modern facilities, the entire process is automated and monitored through sensors that track vibration, temperature, and material flow, ensuring consistent quality of the processed RAP. On average, a single plant can handle between 100 and 300 tons of RAP per hour, recovering up to 30–40% of material ready for direct reuse in new asphalt mixes. This is one of the most critical stages in asphalt recycling, where old pavement is reborn into a clean, uniform, and valuable resource, ready to enter the drying and heating phase of a fully closed-loop process. Rubberized asphalt is more than just a technical upgrade. It is a clear demonstration of how humans can turn an environmental problem into a practical solution. From tires once considered worthless, we create roads that are more durable, smoother to drive on, and far more environmentally friendly. As technologies like this continue to spread, they do not only change the way we build infrastructure, they reshape the way we think about materials that were once labeled as waste. Value does not lie in what a material looks like, but in how people choose to use it. If you want to keep exploring the engineering stories hidden behind global industries, make sure to like the video and follow the Factorin.